Okay, I've made all my little tortellinis. Hopefully yours are looking something similar to these, and we can get straight on and get them in the pan of salted boiling water, which I hope you've got on the hob. So just carefully but quickly, just pop them all in the pan. And these will take 4.5 minutes, in which time I can witter on at you, we can make the thyme butter, and everything will be cooked perfectly. Take a little bit longer than normal cooking because you've wrapped the pasta around, so in some places there's almost 4 layers of pasta. You go and just give them a little move about in the pan just as soon as you put it in. You don't need to bother with olive oil or anything like that. All we're just doing is just moving them about as it starts to come back up to the boil. So we can effectively leave the tortellini and get on and just chop the thyme. Normally I wouldn't bother doing this on camera, but we've got the thyme, so to speak, and we can just get on and do these. Good little tip, if you've got a strand of thyme like this, easy way, because you don't want the stalk, just to pick the leaves off, is hold it at the top and run your finger down and just the leaves come off. See? Makes it a lot quicker. Yeah, the stalks are really woody and would require an awful lot more cooking. So just use the leaves, and we'll just give these a nice little chop up, and then we'll get the butter melting. And this is one of those instances when you don't mind actually burning something, because the butter does need to be a little bit burnt in the pan. There we go. Just a little bit more, I think. And just before we chop them up, we'll pop the butter in the pan and just get a bit of heat going on that. There we go. Yeah, that'll do nicely. So hopefully you've got your knob of butter as well. Then you can just pop this into your saucepan and just get the heat on nice and high. And then as soon as we've chopped the thyme, that'll go in with it. It'll all infuse together beautifully. So just go ahead and chop the thyme. There'll be a few little stalks in here, but they'll only be the little ones from the sub branches, I like to call them. Again, I'm sure that there's a much more technical and accurate name for them. So just chop it up nice and finely. Okay. So you should be left with about a tablespoon of chopped thyme. Okay, so you can just add this straight into your pan. You won't be able to see from here, but there's nothing much going on. It's butter melting in a pan with some thyme. So just swirl the butter around and get this nicely melting. And we'll just give our tortellini a little move around the pan, just nice and gently, just to check nothing's sticking together. There we go. Butter's starting to melt really nicely now. It won't be long. Do you know that these are almost in between? Because when I was doing the recipe, it's tortellini or tortelloni, and apparently the difference is tortellini are very tiny ones and tortelloni are much bigger. So I think mine are somewhere in between. So if anyone wants to come up with a variation of tortellini, tortelloni, I'd like to hear it. There we go, butter just melting away nicely. Just going to get the salt ready because we're going to pop a bit of salt on top afterwards. And normally, tendency when you're melting butter, you're trying to do it really gently, trying to get it not to go brown and not to burn. Whereas when you're doing anything like this, you do actually want to get it to the stage where it just starts to go brown, have a really nice nutty flavour to it. Yeah. So the tortellini will be almost there now. Just about another 30 seconds. Right, and the sauce will be perfect now. So we can turn the heat off the sauce and just let it stay in the pan. And I'll bring it over so you can see what mine looks like. So hopefully yours will be something similar. Can you see that? it's gone nice and brown, and that'll be really nicely infused with the flavour of the thyme. So you can just set your sauce aside and go and drain the tortellini, turn the heat off everything, and bring in your plates and pop the, oh there we go, it's turned off. Pop the tortellini back in the pan once you've drained it. Just really nice and gently though. Go. So tortellini done like that, and then just pour in the butter this way. See, nice brown butter, and then we're just going to mix this together really nice and simply, just in the pan. Just getting everything nice and coated, nice and gently folding it together. There we go. And bring in our plate. Now, just spoon these into the middle. Just taking a little bit of care. That should be 7 each, so that's 5. Testing my counting skills here. 6, 7, and if there's any butter left you can just drizzle that over the top as well. There we go. But that's it done, and I hope that you enjoy them.